Guys, so today we're looking at something a little different than normal and actually looking at what I carry when I'm out mountain biking. Now, this may not be applicable to you, you may not ride mountain bikes, but the good news is with a few slight alterations to the contents, basically taking out some of the tools, this is actually very closely tied to what I would carry if I was out on a day hike, and it's pretty much ready to go as it sits with the exclusion of adding water. So I'm going to start this out and say this is based on a Camelback Mule, which was, to my knowledge, originally designed around mountain biking specifically, but it actually works great if you are using for just a day hiking pack, things like that. The size is pretty much perfect, which, using my hands for size comparison, it's actually a fairly small compact pack, and it does work well. Now, it does have some bike-specific stuff on the outside, like there's a helmet hook in the side of the straps. It's a lot of stuff like that I don't find myself really using, but it's there if you ever wanted to. Now, as far as the bag itself, I've had it for probably 6 months now. It's worked awesome, and the size is perfect for what I carry, and it does leave me enough room above what I carry on a regular basis that if I wanted to add like a rain jacket or a sweatshirt to this outside pack here, I can easily do that, and I have plenty of room to kind of modify as I go. So you can stuff stuff in the outside here, leave it quickly and easily accessible, and a rain jacket is pretty much the most common thing I find myself putting in there. I don't tend to find myself using it for a regular area of storage. So that's something to keep in mind. It's very useful to have. Now, I did kind of break this out mountain bike specific, and it's easy to modify if I wanted to use for something else. So starting with the outside portion is pretty much repair of something, with the most obvious thing being the first aid kit. This is going to be one of the AMK 1.0s. It's a fairly small kit. It's not going to be for any major trauma. It's more just a cuts and bruises and scrapes type of kit. And it does work well. And the one thing I did like about this one, it does have moleskin for blisters. It does have the tweezers, so if you do get a tick while you're in the woods, that'll be a nice, easy way to get it out. But I'll go into this in more detail in a separate video, so you guys have to check that out as well. Now, this part is going to be very bike specific. Perfect example, we do have the hand pump. Again, if you're going hiking, you don't really need this unless you have a bike. So this one, even for the bike people, this one's going to annoy a lot of people. And I do carry a full-size 15mm wrench. Unfortunately, the bike I'm riding still has the old school 15mm through axles where it does not have Allen key inserts on the outside. And I know you're thinking, yes, they make upgraded through axles that would actually replace the need for this. Frankly, they're expensive. This was $3. In the same logic, they do make extra lightweight versions of this that are either a hard plastic or Delver and things like that you would be able to remove an axle with. But again, they're over $100 for most of the ones that I've seen. This was $3. So I'll sacrifice a little bit of weight, carry a wrench, so I can actually take my through axles out if I do blow out a tire. On that same note, so the next thing up we do have is a set of tire levers. So if I do blow out a tire, I can actually change out a tube. These ones are the set of the Pedros, and the one thing to note on these is that if you aren't familiar with these, for some reason this is not common knowledge as much as I would have expected, that when you are using these, once you've actually broken the bead off one section, this little lock piece right here, so you can actually connect that onto a spoke and hold it in place without using a second hand. So while I thought that was common knowledge, I've realized over time that that's actually a bit of unique knowledge that most people haven't realized about something that's extremely obvious. Next up, we have a little more of the repair stuff. We do have a ton of zip ties because they can be extremely useful if you do lose a cable or something like that. Get that on there again. Duct tape, because again, duct tape can fix pretty much everything. And probably the most important thing in the bag, toilet paper. This one is just going to be the Coleman stuff. It does have its own little plastic container, which makes it nice. It doesn't get crushed. But it makes it a little easy if you do need it. That's something you definitely want to have, especially in the woods. And then in this section up here is pretty much just the tools. We have, first up, the Gerber Suspension. I've done a full review on this one as well. It's good for just a generalist tool. The one thing I do like about this for being something that's going to be specifically in the woods, it does have the wood saw as well as a usable knife. Again, it's extremely small for a blade, but it will work in a pinch. Same thing, you have a usable flat edge, and I believe there's a full serrated edge as well. So it gives you some options, and it does give you a lot of utility in a small package. It's not the lightest multi-tool available, not even the lightest one that I own, but it was one that I didn't mind dedicating to the pack. And then finally we have the Crank Brothers. I believe this is the 19 series. I forget the exact model, but comes with its own aluminum case. And this is going to be a pretty comprehensive multi-tool that is bike specific. So again, if you're using this as a hiking pack, this does not apply. And it has all the main bits and drivers you will pretty much need from most repairs, as well as a chain tool. So you can actually get a lot of the roadside or trail side maintenance done if something does go wrong and does break on you. But so now that that's all packed back up, we'll move into the next section up here. And this is going to be the largest section of the pack. And it does fully clamshell open, which is really nice. Now the first thing you're going to notice up here, probably one of the most important things, is a lot of snacks. I do keep it in a Ziploc bag in case something's chocolate, melts, whatever. It doesn't make a big mess inside here. A little bit light stock at the moment. I tend to carry a lot more than that when we're actually out riding. This has clearly been eaten out of, so I have to refill that. Next up is something, again, going to be very bike specific, and this is going to be a spare tube that actually does fit my bike. I am running a 26-inch still, so that's why I have a 26-inch tube. If you're running a 27.5 or a 29, that's when I make sure you actually accommodate what you're riding. I have heard you can actually take a 29 and fold it into itself and actually make it fit smaller tires. Personally, I'd rather just have whatever bike I'm on, that's the tube I'm going to carry, and it's worked well for me so far. Next up, this one's going to be a lot more specific if you are going hiking as well. This is one of the SOL bivvies. This is the 2-person extra large ones. It's probably more weight than a lot of people are going to carry, but it's a good backup emergency shelter or warmth if you run into unexpected weather, things like that. Doesn't weigh much of anything, a couple ounces at best, and it's a lot of good quality insurance if you ever need it. And then finally, on this side, we do have the Msr Water Filter. I forget the exact name of this guy, but this one's going to be a pump-based filter, so you can actually put this end into water, if I can get that on screen, pump this here, and you actually get clean water coming out of the end. So it does work as both a straw, but the main reason I chose this one for the mountain bike kit is because this one works in a very useful way if you want to fill back up a hydration pack. Now, I did consider going the Sawyer route, but frankly, if you were ever going on a long ride and wanted to use this, and it was the Sawyer, you wouldn't be able to fill the bladder. You'd have to fill the bladder with dirty water and then cut your hydration pack line to put the Sawyer Squeeze or the Mini in line with the filter. I didn't really like the idea of doing that. I don't want to cut my hose when I want to fill back up. This one allows you to fill the bladder with clean water, so that's why I went this route. I believe that's called the Pocket Shot, but I could be mistaken on the specific name. Either way, it is made by Msr, though. And then the last thing we have in this section is going to be the SOL Scout Kit. I have done a full review on this one in the past. This is going to be a lot of just the basic stuff for emergency situations if you do end up stuck out there longer than you intended to. So you have the things like the fire starters, the whistle, the little bit extra duct tape, compass, a Mylar blanket, and while it does have a fishing and repair kit, probably a little less utility for most people in that situation, but it's nice to have. And then I did add a few of the water purification tablets from Aquamira in there as well. Now that's it for the main section, and then the last section we have up top is going to be a small pouch. The main thing I really keep in there is going to be the Purell. That's going to be good, especially if you need to use the toilet paper, but it's also a good fire starter and just generally useful to have around. Pretty much that's all I keep in there. I also tend to leave this open because whatever is in my pockets when I'm out riding, whether it be keys, wallet, pocket knife, generally will get tossed in here. And then the last section on the end is actually where the hydration pack goes, and I did leave that out for the video. It's empty at the moment. The 3-liter hydration pack tends to go here, but I left it out for the video so you don't have the hose going everywhere on me. So that's basically everything I carry when I'm mountain biking, and most of what I would carry if I was out on a day hike as well. It's a pretty similar kit, with the exception that I wouldn't carry all the tools that are bike specific. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys carry when you're out riding or when you're out on a day hike, and what did I forget? What did I leave out? And frankly, what did I carry in this pack that you think is completely unnecessary and useless? I'm willing to bet there's a few people that thought a few of these things were overkill and unnecessary, so I'm curious to see what the consensus is there. But as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.